The other day I was thinking about a game that had come and gone, a game that I had only heard mentions of within the small group of people that I knew. This game has not really been seen or heard of since my childhood. Yeah, sure, people know about it, but I have yet to see the game get as much attention as I would like it to. The game that I am talking about is the Getaway, a game that was early on cited to compete with Grand Theft Auto, a game that was also seen as a GTA clone, and this is where some of the origins of the term GTA clone come from. And the interesting part is that the Getaway was actually a good competitor. It went from being just a game to becoming a franchise that spanned 3 games and a 4th game remaining in limbo. In this video, I will tell you what happened to the Getaway franchise. We have to start with the first game that was just titled The Getaway, which was made back in 2002, and yes, it was a year after Grand Theft Auto 3. I know, right? How ironic. They were released way too close to each other for it to be a coincidence. But for the most part, Grand Theft Auto laid the groundwork for most third-person shooters at the time. Sure, they didn't invent it, but they pretty much pioneered it, and the Gateway would function more or less the same, with having the basic functions of third-person gameplay, which would include walking, sprinting, rolling, shooting, and taking cover, which at the time must have been rather new because I don't remember a lot of games that had such advanced mechanics back then, but I may stand to be corrected on that point. The Getaway would feature an open world map of London, and it would feature various missions, but most of the missions wouldn't have time limits due to the fact that the developers didn't want many similarities with Grand Theft Auto. The Getaway games functioned more like movies than games, and that was really their goal in the end. Though they were criticized for it, their game was still a success because the Getaway would strive to be different from Grand Theft Auto, with the game even having licensed cars with brands like MG Rover Group, Jensen Motors, Saab, PSA Peugeot Citroën, Fiat and Lexus. The game would also have licensed guns with guns like the Glock 17, AK-47, Remington 870, Heckler & Koch MP5, and the game had a movie-like approach, which they would try to make immersive, and how they would do this is with removing the HUD and minimap, which most if not all games had at the time. How you would navigate the map is by using the indicators of the car or vehicle you are in, and the game had unique systems of ammo count and health meter. If you ran out of ammo, then the player would drop their gun. The player's health would be determined by the amount of visible damage they had, with the player visibly bleeding and limping, and the player could gain health back by taking cover and resting on a wall. I need to put more of an emphasis on the fact that the Getaway is a PlayStation exclusive. It took influence from British-based gangster movies like Great Carter and Snatch, and it took place in London, which at the time was not really the most popular place to make video games about. And even though Rockstar made Grand Theft Auto London 1969, Team Soho, the developers of the Gateway franchise, did something Rockstar could never do, and that was make a game in London popular. I know that given the time and resources that Rockstar could have of course made a good London-based game, but I bet you that the majority of the people don't even know that GTA London 1969 ever existed. The problem with Rockstar is that the heads at Rockstar are mostly British, and yet they have never really represented the place they are from. They have mainly stuck to making games based in America. I am sure that they have their reasons though, but it still kinda looks bad. The Getaway performed rather well for its time. It sold 300,000 copies in 2 weeks. The game would go double platinum, and then later on it sold 600,000 copies in the UK. When 2006 rolled around, the Getaway had sold 1 million copies and made $36 million in the US. In total, the Getaway is estimated to have sold 4 million copies, which for back then was really good. So good that the success of the first Getaway spawned a sequel called The Getaway Black Monday that came out 2 years later in 2004, the same year as when Rockstar would release one of their greatest games of all time, and that is none other than Grand Theft Auto San Andreas. But this is where a lot of their problems would start, because Black Monday would function more like the first game, of where there weren't really that many things that changed. They did a lot of the same things from the first game, and this would later on cost them dearly, because Black Monday sold considerably less than the first game. You could pretty much say it sold half of what the first game sold. They were never anywhere close to any of the sales of the Grand Theft Auto games. For reference, GTA 3 sold 14.5 million copies, GTA Vice City sold 17.5 million copies, and GTA San Andreas sold 27.5 million copies. So that there explains why Black Monday didn't sell well, is because there is no way people would choose Black Monday over San Andreas. The Getaway franchise would make a spin-off game called Gangs of London that would be made for the PlayStation Portable, and they thought it was smart of them to do so. It wouldn't really move the needle very far. I can't really find how many copies the game sold. I am assuming that if they did show the sales figures, then most likely the game didn't sell well. I have no idea why they didn't just make the game for PS3. I know they were probably trying to capitalize on the PSP, but with the Getaway franchise being a PlayStation exclusive, it wouldn't really bring about the most sales, most probably because of their competition. Even though things were not going the best for the Getaway franchise, a third game was in development. There were a lot of rumors and trailers were shown. A tech demo was showed at E3 2005. The game would maintain its spot in London like all the other Getaway games. The Getaway 3 would first be put on hold with no release date mentioned. The developer stated that the Getaway 3 was still in development, with Sony executives trying to get a film adaptation of the Getaway 3. Then a few years later, the Getaway 3 was cancelled along with another game the developers were working on. The game was called 8 Days, which was set to be a Sony exclusive, just like the Getaway 3. Both games were being made for the PS3 and were being made by the same developer. The funny part is that 8 Days was thought to be the next GTA game. This was before GTA 4 had come out, and some people said it was the GTA 4 trailer, but the developer said that the Getaway 3 was not cancelled but put on hold, but the studio would shift its focus elsewhere onto more Sony and PlayStation related things like iToy and SingStar, and that would pretty much be the end of the Getaway franchise. Team Soho was no longer a thing because they merged with Sony Computer Entertainment Europe, and the other developer called London Studios was shut down in 2024, which left the fate of the Getaway franchise unknown, and nothing has really been mentioned about it since. I really wish that we had at least gotten the Getaway 3. Back in the day, I had only played the Getaway Black Monday once. I never got to really experience the game. When I played it back then, I really wanted to play more of it. But I was really young, and the CD wasn't in the best condition, so I couldn't play it further because of scratches. I feel that the game being a PlayStation exclusive is one of the factors as to why the game didn't perform the best. They tried to start a brand new franchise when Grand Theft Auto was pretty much leading the third person genre, and releasing their second game when Grand Theft Auto San Andreas came out was a mistake. Maybe if they had delayed Black Monday and made Gangs of London a main game, things would have been different. Or maybe if they had just ported the games to PC and Xbox, they would have made more sales. But for a Sony exclusive, Sony let the game fade out of existence. And with that, this is the Chilly Man signing off. Thank everyone for watching. Peace out.